Hey everyone, for this week's discussion, I developed a great proposal based on one of my primary research interests, which is the Marquis de Lafayette and his 1824-1825 farewell tour of the United States. And this will stem back from week five discussion when I discussed this topic very thoroughly. So instead of writing a full grant, I'll explain the project, the organization I would seek funding from, and the historical research that supports this proposal. So, grant idea, my proposal is called Remembering Lafayette, a public history speaker series. The idea is to host free lectures at community colleges, libraries, museums, and historical societies that explore Lafayette's farewell tour and its impact on the early United States. The presentation would also be recorded and shared online, making research available to a much wider audience. So, why Lafayette? Although Lafayette is remembered as a hero of the American Revolution, his farewell tour tells us much more about the early republic. Invited by President James Monroe, Lafayette visited all 24 states over 13 months and was welcomed with parades, speeches, and public celebrations. Historians argue that these events helped strengthen American identity, national identity, making the tour an excellent topic for public history. So this proposal builds on research I completed earlier in this course, week 5. Julien P shows how communities preserve Lafayette's memory through monuments and historical markers, while Marc H. explains how the public celebrations themselves help shape American identity. I also used Auguste Levasseur's first-hand account of the tour. Together, these sources provide a strong historical foundation for this project. So after reviewing this week's grant resources, and I saw that they had a Virginia Humanities on there, I believe Indiana Humanities would be the strongest organization to support this proposal. Indiana Humanities offers grants that fund public humanities programming, educational outreach, and historic preservation initiatives that connect communities with history. My proposed speaker series aligns well with those goals by partnering with community colleges, libraries, museums, and historical societies to bring Lafayette's story to a broader audience. Since the organization also received support from the National Endowment for the Humanities, I know that was disrupted, but it was ruled in federal court that the funding would be returned. This project reflects both state and national efforts to promote public engagement with American history. So funding would support guest speakers, travel expenses, educational materials, venue costs, professional recording of each lecture, and the creation of an online archive. I know the funding on Indiana Humanities, it may not necessarily cover this. If that is the case, then I may look at other avenues. But for now, it would be interesting and be fun to try to use Indiana Humanities for this grant proposal. So rather than funding new research, the grant would focus on making existing scholarship more accessible through public education. So one thing I've learned throughout this course is that historical research shouldn't end with publication. It should also become public history. As I begin teaching American history locally here in an adjunct role, I hope to develop projects that connect classrooms with local communities. If successful, the speaker series could eventually expand into a traveling educational program throughout the Midwest and even the East Coast. So in closing, this proposal demonstrates how historical scholarship can become meaningful public history by combining solid research with community engagement. The project would preserve Lafayette's legacy while making it more accessible to students and the public. Thank you all for watching. I will include my sources, my bibliography, and my response. I look forward to watching your responses, and I hope you all have a great 4th of July. God bless you all. Thank you.